Thank you. And also thanks to Terrence for the last talk. That was really a great presentation. So yes, I'm going to talk about a project that I did in our advanced math modeling course. But before diving into that project, I'll say a little bit about the course and the students that took this course. Okay, let's see, what do I need to do to advance? There we go. So the course itself, at Metro State, we've had a modeling course for a long time, but due to some program changes a couple of years ago, we decided to split our modeling course into two modeling courses, one being a lower division 2-credit modeling course and the other being an upper division 3-credit modeling course. The upper division one is our advanced math modeling course, and that's the course that I'm going to be talking about today. So the first offering of this course was in fall 2019, and we're offering the class right now this spring for the second time. At Metro State, most of our students are adult learners, so they work generally full-time during the day. So our courses generally meet at night once a week, and so that was the format for this particular course. There were two primary objectives. There are two primary objectives for this course, and that is, first of all, to expose students to large open-ended problems. And therefore, the course is almost exclusively project-based. The other emphasis in the course is on technical communication. So problem solving, they do this in teams. We focus on writing technical reports, executive summaries, and also giving presentations. The students in the course are all industrial and applied math majors. As I indicated before, they are generally adult learners, and in this program, they're preparing for careers as analysts, future analysts in a range of areas, actuarial analysts, business analysts, data analysts around the Twin Cities metro area. The students in the course are coming in with a diverse collection of applied mathematics coursework. So I'm not going to talk about all of these courses. I've listed them here. The intro math modeling course, we decided that course would be offered in Excel, and they get sort of a crash course in discrete and continuous modeling and deterministic and stochastic modeling. Really just an introduction to all of these. They're also exposed to Monte Carlo simulation. That's just one particular aspect of stochastic modeling that they see. The other thing I would highlight is they do take an operations research type course. So they are familiar with queuing theory. They've had usually 2 to 3 weeks of queuing theory in their background. And they've had a range of experience working with different kinds of software applications and programming languages. So like I said, the course was offered for the first time in fall 2019. And prior to the start of that semester, I had to come up with projects for this course. I came up with 2 projects for the course, and I'm really just going to focus in on one of them. So the origin of this project comes from Sweet Hollow Cafe, which is a coffee shop cafe that's 2 blocks from the university. It is the coffee destination for all of the math and statistics faculty. We spend much too much time at this cafe. We go there and socialize, but it's also common for us around lunchtime to just walk over there, grab a cup of chai, and then head back to my office and get back to work as soon as possible. So I'm showing you in this picture the front facade of Sweet Hollow Cafe. You can see the main entrance to the cafe there. And if you go inside, there's one main room. There are tables scattered all throughout that room. And at the back of the room, there is a counter where there's one cashier. And behind that counter, there's also a barista station. So when you walk in the door, if you go there around lunchtime and you walk in the door, the tables are usually filled with customers eating, and people who are waiting to order are standing in one line for that one cashier. And it can get a bit congested because you're trying to negotiate around these people who are sitting at tables eating. And then if you are ordering a specialty drink, like for me, it's always a cup of chai. I place my order with the cashier, and then I have to continue standing around while the barista makes my chai. And so during lunchtime, it can be congested. And so that motivated the idea that I had for a project, and that was to investigate the experience of grab and go customers that come in for coffee or specialty drinks around lunchtime. Data collection. So the ideal scenario, of course, would be to pose this problem to students and then have them decide what kind of data they would want to collect. For me, that would not work for a couple of reasons. As I indicated before, my students are primarily adult learners. They work usually during the day, and they do their classes at night. So having them collect data during the cafe lunch period was not viable. In addition, this course, when it was offered in fall 2019, it was crammed into a half semester. And with 2 projects in that semester, that only allowed 3 to 4 weeks for them to finish the entire project. And that includes writing a report and designing a poster presentation. So having data collection within that time frame was not possible. So I had to make a decision that I would collect data in advance of the course. So I started off by talking to the cafe owner, and I got her blessing to basically sit and observe her customers. She thought it was cute that I was doing this. Anyway, so I went to the cafe for 3 days over a 1-week period, and I just sat at a table and I collected data, as much data as I could collect between the period from about 11:30 in the morning until 1 o'clock. And anything that I couldn't collect within that 3-day window, I had to sit down with the cafe owner and collect any additional kind of information that I could get. So what did I collect? So the data that I collected, first of all, I just recorded it in an Excel workbook. For 2 days, I sat and monitored the actual times that parties came into the cafe. And I also kept track of the sizes of the parties that came in. On the 3rd day, the cafe owner allowed me to sit behind the cashier counter, and I just basically timed the barista to get a sense for how long it took the barista to make different kinds of specialty drinks. So that's what I had time to gather in terms of data. Additional data, as I indicated, had to come from the cafe owner, the Sweet Hollow cafe owner. So for example, she told me approximately what percentage of her customers she thought ordered specialty drinks, what percentage of customers came in and just ordered drinks, what percentage just a variety of percentages like that. And so I was able to get approximate distributions for different order types. And that's what I had to go on. The other thing I asked her about were typical cashier service durations. So in other words, how long does it take for the cashier to process one customer? That was data. I thought about trying to collect that data, but that's kind of an awkward collection of data to get. It would require me to basically sit next to the cashier and ask, and that's sort of an invasive thing to do. And I didn't want to even ask the owner if I could do that. I wasn't even comfortable asking if I could do that. So instead, I just asked her to tell me, kind of a range, how long does it take for cashiers to process orders, if it's just a drink order versus if it's an order for both food and drink. And so I took that information, I created my own probability models for those durations, and then I generated data for that variable in the problem. So here was the problem that I posed to students. The first paragraph is just basically laying background. Lunchtime is frequently a busy time of the day. Some customers come for lunch. Others who work in the neighborhood stop by to grab a drink during their lunch break. So, and then in orange, I've highlighted sort of the key statements. The problem investigated here focuses on the experience of this latter group of customers, namely individuals that come to the cafe, typically by themselves, and place drink-only orders. And the goal of this project is to understand the experience of these customers during the lunchtime rush. So that's what I said. I didn't prescribe anything other than just investigate the experience of these customers. This was a modeling course. The students knew they needed to exercise their modeling skills, and so that's what I said. Some specific project details. There were 4 teams I had the students working on teams, and there were 4 teams. Each team had 3 to 4 students. I provided them with data in an Excel workbook. I gave them some additional information that I got from the cafe owner. There was a 4-week completion time, and as I said, that included time for writing up a technical report and designing a poster presentation. And I just simply said, you've had all this coursework, you've learned all these software applications, you've done a lot, use what you've learned and attack this problem, in whatever manner you think is best suited. My objectives for these projects, just to be clear about them, I want them to identify model outputs. I want them to be clear about, what it is they're looking for. What do they want to know when they're done? I want them to make decisions about modeling approaches. I want them to recognize assumptions that they're making along the way. I want them to make decisions about the computational tools that they're going to use. Are they, what languages, if they're going to program, what language are they going to program in? If they're going to use software applications, what applications do they want to use? And I also want them to develop some project management and communication skills in the course of this. So this is what I did in fall 2019. And what was the student experience? So all of the teams ended up making fairly similar decisions in the course of the project. And I actually was not surprised by this, because in fall 2019, the course, the intro, this is not how it normally will work, but in fall 2019, it just happened, it had to work this way. We had to cram both the intro modeling course and the advanced math modeling course into the same semester, and many students took the courses back to back. And so I think some of the content they learned in the intro modeling course weighed pretty heavily on them when they took the advanced math modeling course. And I think it influenced their approach that they took to this problem. And that's, I theorize that that's why the teams ended up choosing very similar, or making very similar decisions. So they all chose, relatively the same output variables. They all chose to look at wait times and queue lengths. They all decided to work with stochastic models. They determined probability models for input variables. They employed Monte Carlo simulation, and they used a range of applications. They used Excel, Python, and various statistical applications if they were going to do hypothesis testing related to the probability models they were choosing for the input variables. The students found it to be a very intense experience, primarily because of the short timeline. It was a lot to accomplish, and especially in a team setting where you had to organize yourselves. So communication and coordination were challenges. Despite the challenges though, I talked with the class afterward, and they found it to be a very rewarding experience. So I just threw in a few quotes that I'd gotten from students. I liked the open-ended modeling projects. It gave a glimpse into the real world where things are not always black and white. You're given information, you have to pick and choose the best way to go about using it to accomplish goals. A couple of students commented that it got them out of their comfort zone, and students talking about creating models in a group being a good experience. Let's see here. I'm going to check my time. How much time do I have? Oh, I can't hear you. Can you unmute?
Sorry. So you got, Rikki, you got 5 more minutes, but if you take 2 minutes to complete it and 3 minutes you can have for questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
I won't talk very much about this, but I'll just say, jumping forward to the current semester, I'm offering the class again now for the second time. The course has been overhauled significantly since that last fall offering. The course now is offered over the entire 15-week period, and I'm co-teaching the course with a technical communication faculty member. Because of the the fact that the course is now running over 15 weeks, it means that the projects now have a longer time span. And I decided to revisit this café problem a second time. I wanted to make some changes to the project, expand the project, and then really just see what students will do with it. So this spring, they're going to have 6 weeks for problem solving, 4 weeks to really focus on communicating their findings. Because they have a longer time span, I'm increasing the expectations on them. I'm also adding more structure to ensure that they are thinking about these expectations. I have significantly expanded the data set. Students have a lot more data that they're going to be looking at now. And one thing I wanted to point out is that the data that I added, I had to randomly generate that because over the course of the last year, because of COVID, the cafe has been closed. And so I took the data that I had gotten from, working with or talking with the cafe owner, and then data that I had collected myself. And I used that data as a basis for randomly generating more data. So the students now have 3 days worth of data, and they have timestamps for all of the front end activities. And so they're going to have a lot more data to look at as they analyze this problem. What will the student experience be this time around? I don't know, because the project starts next week. And that's all I was going to say.
Thank you, Rikki, for the
So
great
thank you.
Any questions for Rikki? You can type in the chat window or you can just unmute yourself and talk. Okay, there's one question I see in the chat from Laura Bailey. You said they meet once a week, as well. You can read it, yeah.
So you said they meet once a week as a class. Did they work on this project during class as well, or did you talk about other things and they work together on their own time? Most of class, so it's different this semester than it was in that fall semester. In that fall semester, most of class time was them working together on the projects. Again, because these are working adults, it's not easy for them to connect outside of class. And so class time was their time to gather together, take stock of where they're at, plan the next week. They would talk amongst themselves over the course of the week, but yeah, class time was really focused on them working. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Rikki?
Thank you all again for coming.
Okay, let's thank the speaker one more time for the great presentation.